Today, on the Everett Ellison Show, you know, the great Malcolm X warned us about these white liberals and about these black Democrats. And we're going to see how Malcolm's warning is coming to fruition today on the Everett Ellison Show. Let's get this thing started. Man, this No Kings March this past week highlighted the lunacy of the left, but it also highlighted the intelligence and the prophecy of the late, great Malcolm X. For you people that don't know, Malcolm told us in the 60s who these white liberals were and how they were going to use black people to get what they wanted. He explained it to the world. And most people, Malcolm don't know what he's talking about. Malcolm is a hate teacher. Malcolm is da.
That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox. And a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to. But the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling.
You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump. A political chump. In Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, there are 257 who are Democrats. Only 177 are Republicans. In the Senate, there are 67 Democrats. Only 33 are Republicans. The party that you bash controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you because you're a chump.
And we watch this No Kings rally, and it should be the No Martin Luther King rally is what it should have been. And we saw all of these old, dried up white liberals out there raising more hell than anybody. You know why? Because they are watching their whole world come apart. Everything they've planned over the last 50 years is now coming apart. Do you know why it's coming apart? It is not coming apart because the mainstream media or because the newspapers are telling you. It's coming apart because of podcasts like these. That we are not asking permission. We are telling you what's going on. And we're looking at these idiots out there, these white liberals who have used the black community over the past 50, 60 years to press a Marxist, communist agenda in the United States of America. And Malcolm X saw it coming back in 1963. And he saw that Martin Luther King Jr. and the NAACP and black politicians were the catalysts behind it. Well, they were being used by white liberals. I call this group the Iron Triangle. Y'all heard me talk about it. Most black preachers, most black politicians, most black civil rights workers. I told you that they were being used as conduits by rich white liberals to keep black people under the control of the Democratic Party. Now, I didn't know Malcolm X had said this when I came up with this theory. started doing my research. And, you know, I was talking to Charlie Kirk about it. I was on Charlie's show. And Charlie pulled out this clip of Malcolm X, basically saying the same thing that I was saying. Malcolm talked about how the white liberal is the biggest enemy that the black man ever had, the biggest enemy that America had ever had.
There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox. And a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to. But the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. And you take him for a...
That is Malcolm X. Our guest is Vince Everett Ellison. Vince, talking about that triangle, in your own words, the iron triangle, I want to ask you about a specific issue that I do not think is going to resonate at all in black America, and that is this trans issue. Out of all the white liberal idea pathogens, the one that I see really some resistance, some disagreement, some kind of what the hell are you doing, is trying to trans black youth. Am I correct in that assumption?
Charlie, you're 100% correct. I mean, and here's the thing. We have to make sure that the black community understands that the Democratic Party is behind it. You're going to any black church on Sunday morning. Oh, they're talking about transgenderism. They're talking about LGBTQ. They're talking about killing, dope, fighting, and crime. But they'll tell you to go vote for the very same Democrat politician that's pushing it all. Why? Because we never ever put it together in a nice little box and say that the Democratic Party is behind this and that the Democrat Party congressman that you're voting for is the guy that's pushing it. And if you keep on voting for this guy, you're going to send your own soul to hell. And when you look around now, you see that it's true. Sadly, you got these black ministers who are the worst. I mean, the worst people in the history of the world. They're just terrible men. Still pressing the same stupid ideology. Talking about white supremacy. Talking about victimization. Talking about you can't make it in America no matter how hard you try. That we got systemic racism. Let me tell you something. I'll make this binary for y'all. Put this in your pipe, smoke it, keep it, put it in your pocket. Any black man that you hear complaining about white supremacy, he's a sissy. He's an ankle-grabbing, pink panty-wearing punk sissy. Tell him I said it. Walk around looking at other people in the eye and saying out of his mouth that white supremacy exists. White supremacy is like voodoo. You have to believe in it for it to have any power over you. I mean, good gracious, man, you can't expect a white man to walk around and you try to make him feel inferior about himself. I know that's what y'all trying to do. I was talking with this white lady the other day, and this is one of the things I'm trying to do, best as I can. I want to get my white brothers and sisters in America, especially white Christians, out of this concept of condemnation. You are not responsible for what has happened to me. I am. I am a free man. God made me free. I was born free. According to John Locke, my freedom is a gift from God. It is irrevocable, non-transferable, and it's unsellable. If a person makes me a slave, he's made me a slave with my permission. Eleanor Roosevelt said, nobody can make you feel inferior without your permission. Nobody can oppress you without your permission. No one can make you feel small without your consent. And we have too many of these men that are consenting. Bunch of crybabies. And they've got these white liberals over here that Malcolm X talked about, who took the moral absolutism of anti-Christian bigotry in America, and they rode it to power. So there was an ideological civil war going on, especially down south, between black and white Christians. That's all it was. It wasn't so much as a political showdown. It was more of an ideological showdown between two Christian sects. It's like a Cain and Abel fight down here between black and white Christians. And black Christians wanted to be accepted by white Christians. End of story. And white Christians, a lot of them said, we don't want to accept you. And, of course, black Christians felt some type of way about that. Crying and sniveling and looking in the window, wanting to integrate, wanting to fight to get into their schools, as opposed to saying, I tell you what, player, I love you. If you don't love me, that's your problem. You don't want me in your restaurant, I'll go build a better restaurant. I'll invite you to it. Feed you for free. If you don't want me in your schools, that's fine. I'll go build a better school. Better colleges, better universities. I'll invite you to mine. You can go for free. If you don't want me in your neighborhoods, I'll build a better neighborhood. You can come move in mine if you want to. That's Christian love. Instead, they decided to go to Washington, D.C., get laws passed, and instead of building up their own, wanted to put a gun to the people's heads and force them to accept them into their spaces. And the white liberals screwed up black people's minds to a point where they believed that the white man's ice was colder, the white man's fire was hotter. You know, when I wrote my book, The Iron Triangle. Again, as I said before, Book Authority gave it number 61, the greatest political books ever written in the history of the world. In the last chapter of Iron Triangle, I wrote about a story that my father told me when I was a boy about my great-grandfather. We called him Big Daddy. His name was Everett Ellison. The stories I've been told about my grandfather or my great-grandfather were legend. He didn't suffer fools. He was a man of ultimate respect. And people respected Everett Ellison. He had 14 children. My grandmother was one of them. She was the eldest. My grandmother was the eldest child in that family, and my mother was the eldest child in my grandmother's family. My grandmother had 16 children, so I have a large family. He lived in a small town called Mercer, Tennessee. Big Daddy died in the late 1970s. I don't remember the exact year. But Daddy tells me this story, that after the 1964 Civil Rights Act passed, he was taking Big Daddy to the train to the bus station. Big Daddy at this time maybe in his 60s. And all of his life he lived in the segregated South, and it didn't bother him. You know, white people didn't want Big Daddy around. Big Daddy wasn't going to be around him. So when he went to the train station, he had been keeping up with the news, and he didn't know that this 1964 Civil Rights Act had been passed, and the colored waiting rooms and the white waiting rooms were no longer a thing. So Big Daddy's instinct told him traditionally to go to the colored waiting room, which was fine with him. So he went up there and he sat down to wait for the bus to come. My father tells me this story. He said he told Big Daddy, my father's a young man at this time. Daddy's probably about maybe 23, 24. And he told Big Daddy, he said, Mr. Ivy, you don't have to sit over there on the colored people's side no more. You can come over and sit where white folks sit. And he said, Big Daddy bent over and looked over on that side of the room. He said, sure enough. He said, yes, sir. My daddy said proudly. He said, Big Daddy said, well, I'm going to come over there and just see how the floor walk. He said, Big Daddy got up, walked across the floor, reared back and forth a little bit on it, walked across again, stomped on the floor a bit, and looked at my daddy and said, floor don't walk no different. Went back over on the color side and sat back down again. The floor don't walk no different. They've been trying to get him to believe for years that there was something over there on the white side that was better than what he had on the black side. What's Big Daddy saying? You got nothing, you don't have anything better than what I have. It's all up here. Your white supremacy is up here. Your black inferiority is up here. Your self-hatred for yourself is up here. They want to tell black conservatives that we hate ourselves. No, you hate yourselves. You're the ones that live in the ghettos. You're the ones that have the subpar schools. You are the ones that are the most violent people in the industrialized world. There's nobody in America more violent. Nobody in the world more violent than the American black man. Murder and crime. Jail. There's no one more promiscuous right now than the American black woman without a wetlock births and what we show on television with the hip hop and the rappers from Cardi B to Glorilla to Sexy Red, to all these nasty skanks out here who pollute the airways with their silly gyrations and actions in the ghettos. And you try to strut around, and because we hold America and African Americans up to a higher standard, you say, we hate ourselves? No, we don't hate ourselves. We don't like you. We love you, but we don't like you. When they asked Jesus what were the most important commandments, he said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and then love your neighbor as yourself. Here's a good question. You love your neighbor as you love yourself. Suppose you hate yourself. That's the question, isn't it? See, if you inject fentanyl into your system, or you'll give it to your neighbor. If you're obese and don't want to work out, you'll tell your neighbor they don't have to. If you're dumb and ignorant and don't go to school, you'll tell your neighbor they don't have to. If you hate yourself, you're going to treat your neighbor with hatred. But if you love yourself, if you believe in education, you're going to tell your neighbor, come on, let's get educated. If you believe in being healthy, you're going to drive your neighbor to get healthy. If you believe in living a good, chaste life and going to church, you're going to have your neighbor go to church with you. Love your neighbor as yourself, but first you got to love yourself. And these people talk about, we hate ourselves. No, you hate yourself. Why? Look at us and look at you. You live in ghettos, slums, trash, graffiti. Wherever there is disorder, that's where the devil rules. Jesus lives in order, cleanliness, families, suburbs, no crime. You go into a ghetto, jokers' pants pulled down, look like they just rolled out of bed, that look like fools, acting like fools, violence, fighting. And because we hold ourselves up as proper image bearers of God, you say we hate ourselves? Psh. Let's make this plain. If you say you black, I ain't it, okay? I have nothing in common with you people. Nothing. I'm a Christian first. A Christian first. Anyone that believes in Jesus Christ, anyone that believes they cannot be inferior to anyone who believes that white supremacy is like the weather, you can't stop it. You build a shelter around it. You don't control the weather. You build a house, and you control what's inside of the house. What is your shelter to racism? It's not trying to get the racist to not be a racist. That is a waste of time. Like the weather, racism will always exist, but you can control yourself. You control what people do. You control how you respond to it. That's the only control that you have. And what's your control of racism? Jesus and your 38. To black racism, to white racism, anti-Semitism, all of it. You're going to find bad people on either side, on either side. Black bad people, good bad people, bad white people, good white people, bad Jewish people, good Jewish people, bad Hispanic people, good Hispanic people, all kinds. You use logic for the educated man and the gun for the fool. Be prepared for either at any time in your life. So right now, I'm going to give you something binary. Keep this with you. The white liberal is the biggest enemy to mankind. The black Democrat is his equal. They are an evil institution. Party of pervert, liars, psychopaths, and anti-Christian bigots. Malcolm X warned us about them over 50, 60 years ago. You can let us look at his prophecy now and see that he told the truth. He warned us about Martin Luther King Jr. and the black preachers that were going to be used to press their agenda forward in the black community. And he told us they were going to destroy us. And right now, America is dying because of these people. And they say full steam ahead. They're not trying to slow it down. They're trying to speed it up. But they have reached their high water mark in America. They reached their Pickett's charge. Yeah. It's like when the Nazis rolled into Paris, took France in 6 weeks. They didn't know that they had reached their high water mark. They were going to run into Winston Churchill in Great Britain in the Battle of Britain, and Churchill was going to turn them back. And then the Americans were going to come. And they were going to come to the island of Great Britain and launch the D-Day invasion and run Hitler out of Europe. His high water mark was when he came into Paris. Well, the Democrats' high water mark was Joe Biden. And now we're running them back. And as Malcolm said, we're going to put them on their heels and we're going to hit them 100 punches around and we're going to make sure they never ever rise their heads again in the United States of America. They're done. So to the white liberal traitors and the black Democrats in the Iron Triangle, who are their brown shirts, foot soldiers, and pawns in this game, you're already defeated. And it is a happy day in America because anybody that comes against the word of God is going to fail. So now that you people have decided you want to castrate little boys and call them little girls and cut off the breasts of little girls and call them little boys and have 9-month abortion and have drag queens shaking your behinds in children's faces and pulling the Bible out of the libraries, putting porn in and having demented men going to the bathrooms without children, demented men in sports without children, without daughters. Yeah. You've reached your high water mark in America. You're done. And I'm going to keep bringing you this message because I'm here to wake you up. And I hope I did you some good here today. So come join me again for another edition of the Vince Everett Ellison Show. All right, friends, Vince Everett Ellison is here. I want you to go to my website. And on my website, you're going to see a lot of great stuff, man. You're going to see that we got T-shirts, we got caps, you got my books, my documentaries, you got all kinds of stuff on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Go there. We're dropping new T-shirts. We're dropping new merchandise. My new book, The End of Tolerance, is there. The End of Tolerance. Make sure you get it. Make it #1. If you got my first 3, get The End of Tolerance. It's just as good. And it's telling us we have to end our tolerance with these leftists, these Democrats. We can no longer allow them to sexually groom our children. We can no longer allow them to castrate little boys and call them little girls, run God out of the public square, take away our guns, take away our sovereignty. No longer allow it. So go on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. That is VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Hit merchandise. You'll see the T-shirts. You'll see the caps. You'll see the books. You'll see the documentaries. You'll see it all. And let's keep this ball rolling. God bless you.